Hey everyone, how are you guys doing today? It is Wisdom Wednesday, and I am Christine Bongiovanni-Stiff, certified life coach. And today I am talking to you about feeling your feelings. And this is my Wisdom Wednesday, like I said, and this is where I hope to inspire you to become a better version of who you were yesterday. A couple things. Today has been an amazing day. So I actually got to live do a presentation today with two of my fellow life coach peoples, a couple of my favorite people in the world. And we are doing a presentation a couple times a month called Beyond the Pew, where we talk to women of faith about topics that are difficult to talk about only because we've made them difficult, right? So we are on a mission to make these topics less uncomfortable to talk about. I came across one of my coach instructors, Jody Moore, and she happened to be answering a question actually when somebody would, I don't remember the question, but anyway, she was talking about what I'm going to talk about today. And I didn't even really realize it until I started looking over my notes. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what Jody was talking about. You need to check her out, Jody Moore. And I think it's Better Than Happy. She has changed her podcast, but she has a podcast. It's amazing. So go check her out. And the reason I have dedicated a whole teaching to this, I talk a lot in my posts and in some of my other teachings about feelings. And I'm pretty sure, though I looked through my notes, I didn't find a specific video teaching that I had done on feelings, which I think there is one of my very first teachings. I went through the different parts of the thought model. And so I believe like the second or third video is feelings, thoughts and feelings, or feelings and actions. But the reason I wanted to dedicate one specifically to feeling your feelings is because it is something that, again, we just aren't used to doing. And because we're not used to doing that, we don't know how to feel our feelings. And I'm on this journey with you guys. So please hear me out on this. I have talked about how when I started all of this, I really noticed that I didn't know how to feel my feelings. And I really work on being deliberate about stopping a couple times a day and really working on pinpointing what feeling I'm feeling right at that time and what that feeling actually feels like for me. Where do I feel it in my body? And I notice myself wanting to not do it. And for me, that is part of a habit I have developed. I don't want to feel my feelings. Often it's because they are negative feelings and I don't want to feel bad. I catch myself many times throughout the day, oftentimes in the morning, sometimes at night when I'm trying to fall asleep. This morning, I felt it this morning while I was kind of still sleeping, kind of still waking up. I have one of those alarms that slowly wakes you up. And all of a sudden I got this like ugh, feeling. You know what that is? And I haven't honestly pinpointed that feeling, so I'll do it right now. It was a feeling, I would guess, of fear. And it's my brain like thinking about the day, the presentation possibly, and just like, oh my gosh, am I going to do this? And that feeling, it was just like not comfortable. How would I describe it? I felt it in my gut. Made me feel like I wanted to throw up, made me feel like, ugh, close my eyes. I don't want to see this. And my initial reaction was to push it away. And guys, I've been doing this for a couple years, right? This work. And what I recognized then, after I had already pushed it away, was that no, I want to feel that feeling. And I wasn't able to recreate that feeling. I was kind of on to the next and thinking about my day, preparing myself mentally. I do affirmations before I get myself out of bed. And so it was gone in an instant. But that's what I'm talking about. Some of those things that we feel, and just starting to actually feel them, even if they don't feel good, like they're not going to hurt us. We want to push them away, but really, like, what is going on? Why? That's why I wanted to try to bring it back. Like, what is it that is making me feel like this? What is making me feel afraid? What in my brain is telling me to stay in bed and not do this day? But let me give you some basics. So we have a couple things. We have sensations, which are involuntary things that start in our body. It could be hunger, like we're truly very, very hungry. It could be fatigue, where in our body, just like we're starting to shut down. Different from a feeling of being hungry, a feeling of being tired because of what is happening around us. So really think about this. We could legitimately in our body just feel like drained. That's a sensation. But think about being maybe in a conference that you're really not super interested in, and you find yourself nodding off. You're really not tired. You got plenty of sleep the night before. If the topic was super interesting, you wouldn't be feeling tired. So in that case, it's an emotion. Or hunger. Let's say all of a sudden, just like you thought this morning, I could be like, oh my gosh, I've got a presentation. And all of a sudden I'm hungry. I want to eat something. So I don't think about that something else. So that is a feeling, not a sensation. And it's good to know the difference between that. Am I really hungry, or am I avoiding something? What is it? So then a feeling or an emotion starts in your brain, and it's a vibration that we experience in our body. It doesn't start in our body like a sensation. It starts in our brain. We think something that causes us to feel a certain way. And like I just said, we think something. So our feelings, our emotions come from something we're thinking. Now, like in the morning, I was in between like waking up and still sleeping. Who knows what my brain was thinking, right? But your brain is thinking something. The same with like when you wake up straight out of a dead sleep, your brain was thinking of something. You were having a dream that caused you to feel a certain way, alarmed, and wake up. So something, and this is the part that Jody was talking about that I really love, is that when we want something, we have a desire, or we have hopes, dreams, think about why we want those things. Why do we desire a certain thing? And if we dig deep, what we will find out is that we really want the feeling that we believe we'll feel once we get those things. So think about like if we lose the weight that we want to lose. What we're thinking about is how we're going to feel when we get to that weight, or buying a new car, or, like, I want this special name brand car, or a house, a husband, thinking about how you're going to feel when you have that husband, that special person, or when you have that baby and get that baby in your arms, or a job. Maybe you're unemployed, and, like, how you're going to feel when you get that job. And this is what Jody was talking about, is that you actually have the ability to create that feeling without having that thing. And that's a whole nother subject, but I might as well dig into that a little bit while we're here talking about that. So let's talk about that with losing weight. We think that when we get to that weight where we can put on those clothes that we think are pretty, mind you, the clothes that we're wearing right now are pretty, right? And so we're saying we get to wear those pretty clothes. Like, we're not wearing ugly clothes at the weight that we're at. Maybe we are. Some of us will wear, like, to make us feel even worse, we'll wear clothes that don't even look good on us. But we want, we're striving after that feeling that we think we're going to feel when we lose that weight. And that is why so many times diets are unsuccessful, because when you get to that weight, it's empty. You don't have that feeling. Like, yeah, you might have some excitement about, going to the store and pulling the smaller size off the rack, going in the fitting room and actually being able to get into that. But it's a temporary feeling. And what I'm talking about is creating that feeling right now before you get to that weight. And or before you buy that car, or before you buy that husband. Not before you buy that husband. Hopefully you're not buying your husband. I'm sure that happens, but anyway. So yeah, that is actually available to you. Think about, well, Jody used this example, so I'm just gonna, like, she used the example of your phone, and I'm of course gonna use the iPhone. Like, I'm gonna admit, I love getting the next new phone. I just love it. I do love it. I will often feel some guilt around it because I don't want to love that phone. And I can create that, like, thinking about things that we already have. So think about that, like when you go buy the phone and it's nice and shiny and you're like, oh, I got this new phone. And then a year later, can you still think that same thought? Like, yeah, I got this phone, or yeah, I got this super cool laptop. I love it. Can you generate that same feeling? Or is it just a flash and it goes away and you're on to the next shiny object that you want? So one of the things that prompted me to do a talk teaching about feeling your feelings is, it's because in my journey, I have slowly been learning how to feel my feelings, as well as, teaching you how. And recently, I have been working on feeling the hard feelings. And for me, I'm calling them hard feelings because they're feelings that I have pushed away since I was very young. And I did it in a way to protect myself. I put walls up to protect my heart. I taught myself different ways of feeling love, which were more manipulative. So doing things for other people so they would act a certain way, which would make me feel loved. And so I have been really looking and working on the feelings of love. And I really have noticed as I'm paying attention to the different feelings. So I really started with some superficial feelings, and I didn't call them superficial feelings, and they are not by any means superficial. But love is very vulnerable for me. For me to actually feel and show and open up to love makes me feel kind of like standing naked in the middle of the street without being under the influence of any mind altering substances. That would make me feel super vulnerable. And so I really block that. And so what I am doing, and I want to encourage you to kind of really figure out what feeling it is that you might be blocking. And if you're one of my clients, one of my love and relationship dependence clients, this is definitely going to be for you. You may not realize it yet, but you are protecting yourself. You're manipulating love in your life. And I want you to think. So, what happens for me, I'm a super visual person, and I was thinking about a flower and how, like, when I want to try to show love, that flower would be open and wide and beautiful for all to see. But then I have this fear, well, what if I get rejected? What if they don't show me love back? Which we've talked about, right? They can't show me love. I have to generate it for myself. I cannot depend on somebody else to show me love. So for me, I have that fear, and I close up just like the flower that hasn't bloomed. It's that bud. And I'm really working on this emotion, being open to being vulnerable. Like, honestly, I understand conceptually that the worst thing that could happen is somebody rejects me. But then I have to do the work. And this is all the work that you guys are doing, whether you're losing weight or working on your past, working on a relationship. It's noticing and knowing that if somebody does reject me, like, what if I just show my love? And they're like, nope, not today. What has just happened? I just did a beautiful thing, and it's all on them. I can hold that mirror up and turn it towards them instead of turning that mirror around and making it be about me. So the worst thing that can happen is rejection, and then me having to deal with that feeling and work through the fact that that is not about me. I did the best thing that I could for myself. And so it's just grasping that concept. I hope that this all makes sense to you guys. I hope I didn't just like go on and cause you to feel the feeling of fatigue. Hopefully not. Anyway, you guys, I would love for you to reach out to me if you have any questions about any of this. Every Friday, I do a live where I answer a question. Please send me your questions. You can drop them even in the comments. I would love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel. And what else? I'm still looking for 4 more people to go through my beta program. And so if you actually fit into my niche, which is love and relationship dependence, more than likely you have no clue that you fit into my niche, because you just won't unless somebody has already told you. I have a questionnaire that I can take you through. I can ask you 4 simple questions. If you say yes to the majority of those questions, then I would love to run you through my full questionnaire. It takes about a half an hour. If you fit into my niche, then I am offering an awesome once-in-a-lifetime gift to you. And It's only available for four more people. So I love you guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Ciao.